Get ready with me for a sleepover while I tell you guys how I got jumped at my last sleepover. Just kidding, y'all thought I got jumped? But I almost did actually get jumped, but this was like a couple years ago, so let me tell you guys the story. So this was like in like 4th or 5th grade, I can't really remember, and we had like a big friend group. It was like 6 of us, and we all decided to have a sleepover at this one girl's house. Joe, we were the friend group that always argued and then got back cool. So our messy selves at one sleepover, all in one house, yeah, something was definitely about to happen. Okay, so basically as soon as we get there, you know, it was cool at first, and then of course, 2 of the girls start arguing. I don't even know why. Me being the messy person I am, I start recording and they're not even fighting. Like, they're just arguing. So, girl, put your phone down. But then again, I was in like 4th grade. So, if anything popped off, I was just gonna record. Like, so once they start arguing, then they started getting physical. Like, they started punching and hitting each other and they start fighting. They're done, you know. I don't know what they were doing. You could just see me I was just in the corner just recording. Like, I don't know. One of the girls that got punched in the stomach and can barely breathe, she was huffing and puffing. She starts getting mad at me, talking about some, Kyle, put your phone down, why are you recording? Okay, yeah, I shouldn't have been recording because it was very unnecessary, but girl, don't take your anger out on me just because you got punched in the stomach. My best friend, Erica, she was recording as well, and so she goes to Erica and was like, you too, girl, I don't know why both of y'all are recording, da-da-da-da, and she started walking up on us. I'm just like, girl, is it that serious? Like, calm down. Like, we're not gonna send it to nobody. And the other girl rises up because she was on the ground just getting beat up. And she's like, yeah, I don't know why y'all are recording da-da-da. Huh? Girl, wasn't y'all just fighting? Don't try to game up on me and my best friend. So they start walking up into our faces. We're going back and forth, arguing, and then her mom comes downstairs. Mom tells us to shut it down, go to bed, and we turn on a movie and just go to bed because it was just too much going on. The next morning, she has this like event. I'm just like, okay, if you had an event, then why are you having a sleepover the day before? And then the next morning, she leaves us at her house. 5 of us are in the house, home alone, in her house. And she got mad at us because we didn't clean up. Left us at your house. But now I'm best friends with the girl, so Adriana, I love you so much. Don't get offended, girl. It's just a story time. But yeah, guys. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all, for the gospel.
Story time while I'm doing my makeup, because I think I'm about to be murdered on this first date. Okay, I got receipts pulled up right now. So I randomly get a DM. I'm outside with my grandma and my dad, you know. I just randomly get a DM from this dude and I read it out loud saying, "That's crazy. You look exactly like my future wife." So me and my dad are just talking, you know, about all the guys that hit me up and all this stuff, and you know, I just proceed to like the message and just leave it on seen. 30 minutes later, he proceeds to text me, "I see the vision though. You gotta appear mysterious and uninterested." So I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, "Love the viewpoint, lol. Thank you." I was like, "Do you have Snapchat?" Like just the typical, like, you know, like text back with a random dude. "I prefer not to get left undelivered for 6 weeks, so I'll give you my number instead." Real as frick. So he sends me his number. Now you have no excuse not to put me in your emergency contacts. So I'm thinking, like, what? So I'm like, whatever. And then I was like, wait, how old are you? Like, before, like, I, like, put this dude's name in my phone, right? When I text him, I'm like, "Hey, it's Ashley." He's like, "Phew, I didn't think we were gonna make it to this point, Ashley." And then I was like, well, it has come to this point. And then he says, "The only next logical step is to see when you're free so I can take you to dinner." I was like, see, that's kind of a tough one with me. I was like, I'm a really busy woman. And then he's like, are you using the D1 excuse, "I'm too busy"? Well, I'm also busy, yet I'm trying to make time for you. And I was like, oh, sweet. So he's telling me that he is going to training right now, like da-da-da-da, like we have a plan going on here. And then he was like, "Can I FaceTime you after I get out of training?" I was like, yeah, like, so he FaceTimes me after his training, and he seems like a normal person. We're kind of just talking, and he was like, "So, like, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, well, I have like a little softball game at like 7 o'clock, and I have to go look at this couch at 5, like da-da-da. He was like, "Perfect, so I can come pick you up and we can do something at 1. And I was like, oh, what? Like, I'm flabbergasted. Like, he sees how flabbergasted I am. The only weird thing that, like, I didn't like is that he didn't have any posts in, like, his profile pic. Like, you can't really see his face, but it's, like, his body, you know? But, like, I don't know. I figure out where he lives, and he's, like, 30 minutes from me. I'm like, you're really gonna come pick me up? He was like, yes, like, dude, I like really want to take you out and all that stuff. I'm like still like flabbergasted again, and I'm like, what in the world? I was like, well, what are we gonna do? He's like, I know a spot, like we can go like mini golfing, and I can take you out to get something to eat before or after. And I was like, free food, bro, free fucking food. Okay, and then this morning, as I'm now getting ready, like, what in the world? I go back to his freaking Instagram, and his profile username, picture, and everything has changed. His freaking profile pic is a black screen. His username is changed to the numbers of 444. Mind you, I don't really go on dates often. Like, I couldn't even tell you the last time I went on a date, so I'm kind of just like, do you just do it for a plot? I told my dad about the situation. He's like, bro, you're gonna get freaking murdered or like SEX trafficked. And I'm like, bro, I was like, I honestly don't know, but for the plot. So right now I'm getting ready. I personally just think it's weird that like he just changed his entire like profile and username and everything. Like, I don't know. I'm about to probably FaceTime him. Why should it be like not him? Bro, I'm like really scared. So wait, actually I'm gonna FaceTime him right now. Okay, I literally just got off the phone with him. I just FaceTimed him, so we're good. We're all set. He's a normal human being, and the only reason why he said apparently he changed all his social medias to that. I don't really know. I was literally straight up, and I was like, "You're not gonna murder me, right?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I think I'm just freaking out because I've never met him before, like, in my life, and I'm just now hearing of this person. So maybe it'll be good. I'll maybe do a little update. T-minus 30 minutes until he comes. It's currently 3:35 and he was supposed to pick me up at 1, bro. I think I just got stood up. Get ready with me for day 1 of never seeing him again. As a lot of you guys have guessed, me and my boyfriend did break up, and last night was probably one of the hardest things that either of us have ever had to do. This is what I mean when I say don't trust social media, because our relationship has never been easy, and it's really hard to accept that when you're young and in love, but there comes a point where it's just too much, and honestly neither of us deserved the relationship that we were in. This is his shirt. Last night I was supposed to give him everything back, but I just needed a shirt. And last night was so hard because it was so good. You know, you love someone when in the end you both can just be mature and set aside your differences and wish each other the best and have like one last good everything, you know? Sorry, just give me a second. I need a cry break. I just woke up. I'm not allowed to cry anymore. But I got home at 2 in the morning because neither of us could walk away. At the end of the night, after literally like 5 hours of just crying into each other's arms, like, you feel the love so much. It's so hard to accept that you can't keep going. We've tried before. We broke up about a year ago for like 4 months, and we both really got our stuff together, but at the end of the day, there just seems to always be a pattern. We're both just at the point in our lives where we can't risk it again. Like, yes, what if, but we just can't put ourselves through any more of that. And it's so hard because like you want to change, like I want to change, like I want to keep it going. I don't want anyone else. I'm genuinely being so for real. I do not want anyone else. I don't want to talk to anyone. I want him, you know? But at the end of the day, we were both trying to force each other to be the person that we obviously weren't. Especially me. I struggle a lot in relationships. I always have. And this was my first everything, you know? Like, he was literally my first everything. So I'm trying not to feel so much self-blame right now, but literally,
right now I just feel like it's all my fault, you know. At the end of the day, you know, it takes two people to burn a relationship to the ground, and it's never been easy. In the 2 years we've known each other, it really hasn't been easy. And it makes it so hard to let go because the goods are so good, but the bads are so bad. You hang on to the good things for so long, but there becomes a point where the pain it's not worth it anymore. My boyfriend broke up with me about a week ago, and honestly, I'm so thankful he did. I would have never done it, and it really is true in the saying, loving someone is letting someone go, because we both just have to let each other go so we can be happy. Yes, we make each other happy, but we also just hold each other back from so much. Not purposely, it's out of love, but we did just really love each other so much that we just kind of destroyed ourselves, you know? I have absolutely no ill will towards him. We both wished each other the best. It's just so hard because we didn't play the future card. We just said if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, you know? But it's just so weird thinking that, like, that could be the last time everything, you know. I never thought we'd have to say goodbye. That's what was so hard. And last time we broke up, you know, we just said see you later because we knew it was for each other, but we just can't keep going. And that's the reality. I wanted it to be him and he wanted it to be me, but at the end of the day, there's gonna be someone out there for you, regardless if it is gonna be me or not. Because I think it's just hard for us losing a person that's been through everything with them. The last 2 years of my life has been the hardest years of my life I've ever had, and he's been there through all of it. And same for him. We've just cried to each other, we laughed with each other, like, he knows everything about me. I have a lot of stuff that goes on, and it's just scary to think that there's, like, not a person out there that knows me the way he did. You know, I don't want to restart. And I know I didn't have to come on and post any of this or talk about any of this, but I know how hard it is to leave toxic relationships because we've never been able to. I need to heal, he needs to heal, and I want to document that process, whether it just helps me or it helps other people. This is something that's real, and it's something that people ignore and overlook. It's gonna be a roller coaster. Some days are gonna be really, really hard, and some days are gonna be really good and distraction filled. And I have so many big things coming, and I'm gonna look at them as healers and not distractions. And I just hit 1 million yesterday, and that's the day me and my boyfriend left. He's been there from the start. He's been there from before all of this, and it's always just been that, like, marker that we were, like, so ready for. And I hit 1 million yesterday, and we were both so happy. Anyway, I'm ready, and I'm gonna try and clean today. I just really hope you guys are understanding my emotions right now. It's gonna be so on and off. Some days I might be in my healing era, some days I might be in my sad girl era, and I have no idea how I'm gonna cope with this yet. But I am gonna be honest on my platform because this is genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, and I know there are so many people going through it. Especially at this age, toxicity is so hard to walk away from, but at the end of the day, everyone can do it, and I want you guys to see me come out of this a better person. I love him with my whole heart. I'm sorry, the waterworks. But I could not be more thankful that we were both mature enough to last night to have one last good night and just say our goodbyes and show each other the love that we've always had and be able to leave with no regrets. I feel like we both got the closure we needed, and now it's time to start healing. So hopefully this helped you. Maybe it didn't. I'm gonna go clean my room and stuff. I hope you guys have a great day. Peace out. Love you. Bye.
Make slime with me while I tell you the story about how I met my racist, creepy neighbor. When I was in about 4th grade, me and my younger sister were obsessed with playing in the woods behind our house. One day, the neighbors on the other side of the woods moved in, and there were so many kids that lived there. All of these kids were homeschooled, and so me and my sister went out and played in the woods, and we met these kids in the woods, the ones that just moved into the house. There was a girl that was my age, and then there was a boy that was, I think it was in the middle of me and my sister's age. I don't know if he was older or younger. All I know is that he was creepy and racist. The very first day we met these kids, the boy was very weird. His name is Johnny, and the very first time we met him, he got up on the sewer that was in the middle of the woods, he pulled down his pants, and he decided to pee in a circle, going just like in circles around. Obviously, these kids are homeschooled, so they probably don't have as much etiquette as kids who actually go to school do. And me and my sister usually went in the woods together. Like, we didn't really ever go alone because she was my best friend when I was younger. So there wasn't ever a reason for us to go alone. So the next day, we headed out to the woods and we saw them there again. And this time they were playing in a tree that was tipped over the pond. So we all climbed over it and we started yelling things over the pond. Like, hey, like no swear words or anything, just like innocent kid stuff. But Johnny decided to yell the N-word. And me being a little 4th grader who didn't have much education on anything, I asked, what was that? What does that word mean? And he said the name of our black neighbor. So I was confused, and me and my sister went home, and it was dinner time. So we were sitting at the dinner table, and I go, hey, Daddy, like, today Johnny from the woods said a word, and I didn't know what it meant. And I told my dad the story about how, like, he said the neighbor, and I didn't understand why it would be the neighbor, and, like, I didn't really understand anything. Dad was like, what was the word? And I was like, I can't remember. It started with an N, but I just, like, can't remember what it was. It was a weird word. And my dad started freaking out. He was like, was the neighbor outside when he said it? Like, did he hear anything? And then my dad started going on a rant about, like, homeschooled kids and how they're, like, weird. And, like, I had already told him the story about the sewer thing. And my mom was like, you shouldn't be hanging out with him anymore. So the next day, my sister woke up sick. So I had to go play in the woods by myself. So I went in the woods, and I didn't notice anybody else around besides Johnny. And he took me into the little fort that we had built. And he was like, this is mine. What does yours look like? As he pulled down his pants. And I covered my eyes, and I literally screamed at the top of my lungs, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, blah, 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 whatever little kids say. I honestly can't really remember. That's, like, a traumatic part of my childhood. And little Johnny comes over here, and he tries pulling my pants down. I scream, and I run home, and I just, like, cried. I didn't know what to do. Long story short, I never saw Johnny in the woods again after that. And I did not hang out with him or hear anything.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play.
School's out and I graduate next week. Let's tell the story of the time one of my exes asked if he could spend Valentine's Day with his girl best friend. Just to set the tone, this is probably one of the worst relationships I've ever been in. We're gonna call the guy Tyrone and then his girl best friend Sandy. So Sandy and Tyrone became best friends after me and Tyrone were already together. And to be honest, I didn't do too much about it because nothing was weird. Also, me and Sandy were cool, so what do I really have to worry about? Around the time of the situation, me and Tyrone had also had a conversation about trust because I thought he was cheating on me, which he was, but at that time I didn't know that, and that's also not this story time. With that reassurance, I didn't really have much of a reason to do too much, at least until around like the weeks leading up until Valentine's Day. There'd be times where we'd be on FaceTime and then Sandy would call him and he would hang up to go talk to her. This eventually started to annoy me because there'd be times where he'd be like, oh, I'm gonna call you back, and then he would never call back. So after a while, I just kind of was like, hey, what is Sandy doing or talking about that's so important that you have to hang up every single time? And Tyrone was basically like, oh, she's just really depressed right now. Like her boyfriend broke up with her and it's really taking a toll, blah, blah, blah. And then he says like, oh, but if it bothers you that much, then I just won't help her and try to make her feel better. Anyway, I basically told him I didn't mean it like that, and then I ended up apologizing. Oh my god. And even though I apologized, he still went and like told Sandy that I complained, I guess. Saying that like I had an issue with her calling him so much, and I guess that caused her to like build up some resentment towards me or whatever. Valentine's Day fell on a Monday, and Sandy on Friday basically asked like, oh, Tyrone, can we hang out Monday after school? She asked on Friday, but he didn't tell me until Sunday night. It's Sunday, we're on the phone, and then he randomly brings up if it's okay if he hangs out with Sandy after school tomorrow. So I'm obviously like, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Don't you think we should be with each other and then you can hang out with Sandy on like Tuesday or something? And he was like, oh, well, she had asked me first and I already said yes. So I cut him off. I'm like, what do you mean you already said yes? He's like, oh, well, she probably didn't even know it was Valentine's Day, and I think she just wanted to hang out because it's been a while, blah, blah, blah. Whole lot of nothing. So then he realizes that I'm like quiet and not saying anything, and then he gets upset. He's not talking to me, he's talking at me. He's like, oh, I don't know why you're so freaked out. I'm trying to help out my friend and you're painting me out to be the bad guy. And like 3 minutes go by of complete silence, and then he goes, I would have never expected for you to be so selfish, but I guess whatever you say goes, so I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. And now usually this wouldn't move me, but it was sophomore year, so not too much. So he hung up and then I started crying. Then at 1 o'clock in the morning, I apologized to him for being selfish. Then I text, you can go with Sandy, happy Valentine's Day. These are the type of stories I don't like to tell because it just makes me look so dumb. But we are finished. Deuces, deuces, and deuces.
Breaking news. The future is here, and it looks bright.
Get ready with me while I talk about things I got in trouble for with a really strict dad. So these are things that I think a child would not normally get in trouble for, but I guess we'll see.
So starting off strong, I didn't get him or make him a birthday card when I was like 8 or 9. So me and my brother got sent to our rooms for the rest of the day. We tried to call our mom to tell her what happened, and then we got in trouble for that. The next thing I got in trouble for was for not being hungry at breakfast time or not eating all my food at dinner. I mean, it wasn't because I wanted to be skinny or something like that. I was literally just really little and could not physically eat the same amount as my older brother could. I don't understand how that one is that wrong. And on that note, one time I had some food left that I just was not hungry at all. I had eaten so much. So then I said I had to go to the bathroom, then I stuffed it all in my mouth, and then I went to the bathroom and spit it out in the toilet. And when I came out, my dad had his ear to the door and he was like, bruh. And then I was sent to my room and I was crying, and then he came in and he was like, you need to apologize to your stepmom for doing that because now she thinks you hate her food. And she was just making that up to make me feel bad, obviously. She could care less. The next thing I got in trouble for was for texting somebody the poop emoji. Yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for that one. The next thing I got in trouble for was for getting car sick and throwing up in the car. And I had to clean it up after. The next thing isn't something I got in trouble for. It's just kind of a weird rule we had that we had to ask before we could have a snack or just eat in general. We had to ask before we could eat. I don't know. I didn't really realize how weird that one is until now. But also it just doesn't make sense because it's you want me to eat all my food, but then when I'm not hungry you're mad at me, but then when I am hungry you're also mad at me. Make it make sense, pal. The next thing I got in trouble for was for bringing clothes that I bought with gift cards that my dad and stepmom gave me to my mom's house. So I wasn't allowed to bring anything from my dad's house to my mom's house, but obviously my mom didn't care, so she let me bring stuff from her house to my dad's house because the next thing is honestly just a weird story that happened, but my old babysitter for some reason told my dad that I wanted to my siblings, my little sibling, but luckily my dad believed me, and yeah. And the last thing I got in trouble for is telling him that I was happier at my mom's house, and that got me kicked out the house. The full story time is pinned on my page. Let me know if you think these are strict rules or not. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching.